All right, we're on section 3, SAT test number 8, non-calculator, problem number 1, and it says here that we want to find the value of x. So 3x plus x, so we got to combine, there's a lot of x's there. All my x's live in Texas. 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x, so I have 6x on the left-hand side, and then I have minus 3, minus 2, combine like terms right there. And that's equal to x plus x, that's 2x, plus 7. And so all you need to do is subtract 2x on both sides. And you're going to have that 4x minus 5 is equal to 7. And then add 5 to both sides so that you can have the x's by themselves on the left-hand side. And so we have that 4x is equal to 12. And if you divide by 4 on both sides, x is equal to 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So the answer here should be D equals to 3. X equals 3, so the answer is D for number 1. Okay, so problem number 2, we have a graph and it shows the distance traveled D, and that's in feet by product on a conveyor belt, M, minutes after the product is placed on the belt. Which of the following equations correctly relates D and M? So D in terms of M. So looks like what we need is an equation of the line. Slope is at y-intercept of 0. So it can't be this or this. And the slope here is 2 over 1. So the slope is 2. So it has to be D equals to 2m. And that is the correct answer for number 2. Okay, problem number 3. The formula below is often used by project managers to compute E, the estimated time to complete a job, where O is the shortest completion time, P is the longest completion time, and M is the most likely completion time. And so in this problem we want to solve for P in terms of E, O, and M. So if you want to solve for P, this is P right here. We need to get rid of the 6, so we multiply by 6 on both sides, and by doing that those cancel out, so you're going to have O plus 4m plus P, and that's equal to 6e. And then if we want to solve for P, we want to isolate this P, we have to subtract O and subtract 4m on both sides. So you're going to have 6e minus the O and minus the 4m. That's what P is. So we look at our answer choices, and 6e minus O minus 4m, that looks like answer A. So the answer should be A for problem number 3. Okay, problem number 4 is a problem from geometry. It says in the figure above, RT is equal to TU. So RT would be right here. This is the same as TU. So when you have two sides the same, that means you have an isosceles triangle. And when you have an isosceles triangle, these two base angles will be the same. So I have 114 degrees, and if we subtract that from 180, that gives me the other two angles. So this is going to be 66 degrees for this one and this one. So if we divide it by 2 to split those, we're going to have 33 for each of the base angles. So that means that this angle here is 33 degrees, and this angle here is 33 degrees on triangle RTU. So triangle RTU is an isosceles triangle where you have two congruent sides and you have two congruent angles. Now we are looking for the value of x, and x is right here. So I'm going to highlight x as this angle right here, and x is the exterior angle for this larger triangle. So if I look at the larger triangle, SUV, so you see we have a larger triangle right here, and you notice that there are two angles there already, and this angle x that we're looking for is actually the exterior angle. So x is the exterior angle for triangle SUV. So the exterior angle for triangle SUV. And the exterior angle is the sum of the two interior angles that are furthest away from that vertex. So x is actually going to be 31 plus 33, which would be 64 degrees. And that's going to be the easiest way of doing this problem. The answer is 64 degrees. So the exterior angle theorem says that this angle at x, at vertex V, is the sum of the other two angles, which is this one and that one, the two furthest interior angles furthest away from that vertex. And that will be the answer for problem number 4. Okay, problem number 5, we have the width of a rectangular dance floor is W feet. And so we have a rectangular dance floor. So this is the width here. And also we know that the length is going to be 6 feet longer. So this is the length right here. It's going to be 6 feet more, or W plus 6. So this is W plus 6, and this is just W. And so which of the following is a perimeter in terms of W? Well, the perimeter is the sum of the four sides. So we're going to have W, W, there's 4 W's, and then 6 plus 6 is 12. So it should be 4W plus 12, which looks like it's answer B for problem number 5. Okay, problem number 6. Y is greater than 2x minus 1, and we also know that 2x has to be greater than 5. And right here I have 2x. Well, if this number x is greater than 2x is greater than 5, x is greater than 5 halves, I can actually replace this 2x with 5. So that means that y has to be greater than 5 minus 1, which is 4. So y has to be greater than 4. That was the answer for number 6. Okay, problem number 7. We have the square root of 2x plus 6 plus 4. And the first thing that I notice is that we should probably isolate the radical. In other words, leave that by itself on one side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. And when we do this, we now have the square root of 2x plus 6 is equal to x plus 3 minus 4. That would be x minus 1. And now the next step would be to square both sides to get rid of the radical. So square both sides, and on the right hand side you're going to have x minus 1 squared, which is x minus 1 times x minus 1, and that's going to be x squared minus x here, and the outer and inner will be minus 2x when you combine those two together, and then minus 1 times minus 1 is a plus 1. And that is going to equal the 2x plus 6 because the square root and the squared canceled out. So now you have a quadratic equation, and we need to subtract 2x. No, the 2x's do not cancel out. We need to get them on one side to have this in standard form, so that cancels out. Minus 6 here and a minus 6 here. So this will leave you that x squared minus 4x, and then plus 1 minus 6 is a minus 5, and that is equal to 0. And it looks like this is factorable, and so we're going to have x and x. Factors of 5 are 1 and 5, so we could put a 5 here and a 1 here. Since we have minus 4x, we need a minus there and a plus there. So here's your minus 5x, and here's your plus x. That gives you that minus 4x in the middle. Now, if x minus 5 equals to 0, we know that x equals to 5. And if x plus 1 equals to 0, we know that x plus 1 equals 0, so x would be negative 1. I'm looking at the answers, and it looks like there's 2 answers. Okay, so at this point, some of you are likely to pick negative 1 and 5. Some of you are likely to pick answer C. And answer C is actually incorrect. It's the wrong answer. Why? Well, because whenever you have radical equations, you have to plug them back in and make sure that it works. If I have a -1 for x, that's not going to work, because remember, I have the square root of 2x plus 1 has to give me x minus 1. And if I have a -1 for x, -1 here, and another -1, that's going to be -2, I'm going to get a negative, and there's no way that this one will work. So the correct answer in this case is answer B, and the answer is 5. So -1 did not work. So is there an easier way than doing it this way, what we just did? Yeah. For this type of problem, what you need to do is realize that there's probably one answer that works for radical equations. So if only one answer works, then it's either -1 or 5, but not both. So here we got -1, 5, and we did this the long way. So don't do this the long way on a time test. So it can't be this one, and it can't be this one. There's no way you're going to have 3 answers. So it's either -1 and 5. So then what you do is you can plug in a -1 into the equation, and you find out that doesn't work. So 5 is the answer. You can plug in a 5 in here. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 6, square root of that, plus 4 is equal to 5 plus 3 is 8. So you're going to have 16, square root of 16 is 4, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. So this is the only one that works. Okay, and so the correct answer was B for number 7. Now, if you like more tips and strategies like this, I suggest that you subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when there's more of these videos coming up. Okay, problem number 8. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to f of x? So in this problem, we're going to do f of x over g of x for x is greater than 3. And we're going to have f of x over g of x. So all you're going to do is we're going to need to factor the numerator. So you can factor out an x there, and you're going to have x squared minus 9. And the denominator, looks like we can factor that as x and x. Factors of 3 are 3 and 1. And then the minus 2, so we need a minus 3 here and a plus 1, so that we can get this minus 2 from the outer and the inner. So here's your minus 3x, and here's your plus 1x. That gives you the minus 2x that we need. Now, turns out that x squared minus 9 is also, what? Difference of squares. So I'm going to write that as x minus 3 and x plus 3, like that, and that replaces that. And so then we can cancel common factors in the numerator and denominator. So the x minus 3 is in the numerator and denominator, and then we're going to have x, and then we're going to have an x plus 3, and the denominator is x plus 1. So is there an answer that looks like that? Yeah. Looks like answer D would work. Now, this is one of those problems that if you have extra time and you weren't quite sure on how to factor all this, you could plug in a number. Let's say like if x is 0, but x has to be greater than 3, so you would have to pick a number greater than 3, maybe x is 4. And then you get into some real big numbers. 4 cubed minus 4 cubed is 64, minus 9 times 4 is 36, and so, and 4 squared minus 2 times 4 minus 3, and you would have 16 minus 8 is 8, minus 3 is 5, and so that takes too long. And then you would have to plug in the numbers into the answers and see if that would give you the same answers we got up here. I would say just factor. And I think I'm going to have to make some basic factoring videos because we need a lot of practice in factoring. This is strictly a factoring problem. The answer was D for number 8. Okay, problem number 9, we have the equation of a circle, x minus 6 squared plus y plus 5, this quantity squared equals 16. It says that the graph of the equation above is a circle. And the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So the radius here is 4. So this tells you if r squared is equal to 16, we know that we have a circle of a radius of 4. And also the center of this circle is hk. And in this problem, if minus h is a minus 6, then h would be 6. And a minus k is 5. So that means that this would be what? A minus 5. So that would be the center, and that's where we start. So we have a point P is on the circle and has these coordinates, and segment PQ is the diameter of the circle. What are the coordinates of P? Okay. What are the coordinates of Q? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the center here at 6, negative 5. So a point there. And we have another point here that's given. This is point P. And point P has coordinates of what? 10, negative 5. And you can see right here that the radius is 4 units, from 6 to 10 on the x value. So that means that we need to go how many units this way? By the way, the center is the midpoint of P and Q. Well, we know that the y-coordinate has to be negative 5. What's the x-coordinate? So if this is 4 units here, this has to be 4 units also. 6 minus 4 is 2. So we're looking at 2, negative 5 as our answer. And so right here in this problem, you have a circle. It's going to look something like that. And this is the center right here. This is the radius. This is the radius. So PQ is the diameter. And could have drawn a better circle, but you see there's a circle right there. And you don't need to draw a circle. All you need to know is that how to find the center of the circle, the equation of the circle. You know the radius is 4, so if they give you this point, you can go take 4 units there and then work backwards and get 4 units there to get Q. So the answer was 2, negative 5, answer A for number 9. Okay, problem number 10. So in this problem, we have a group of 202 people that went on an overnight trip, and there's 60 tents with them. So some of the tents can hold 2 people, and the other tents are 4 people. So let's say that X is equal to the tents that have 2 people each, 2 people per tent. And that means that Y would be 4 people per tent. And so how many tents are there? Well, there's 60 tents, so that means that X plus Y is equal to 60. And how many people are there? There's 202 total people. So there's 2 in every X, so 2 times X. And there's 4 inside every Y tent, so 4 times Y is equal to the total number of people, which is 202 people. And it says how many of the tents were 2-person tents. So we're looking for X or Y. Well, according to this, we're looking for X. How many of the tents were 2-person tents? So if we want to solve for X, then we need to eliminate Y. How do we cancel out Y? So we have 4Y here, and we need to have a minus 4Y here. So multiply everything here on the second equation by a negative 4. So this becomes a negative 240 here, and you had a minus 4Y there, and you have minus 4X there. And so the 4Y and the minus 4Y will cancel out. So 2X minus 4X is a minus 2X. And here you're going to have 202 minus 240. It's going to be negative 38. And if you divide by negative 2, That means x, which is the number of 2 people per tent, is equal to 19. So in this case, is there an answer there that says 19? Yeah, the answer would be answer C. And so I think this will conclude this video 1 to 10. So we'll have another video. Part 2 will be 11 to 20. So if you like this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one, part 2.